The crazy year of 2020 is now over and we're moving on to 2021. Happy New Year, everybody. I am not leaving 2020 without talking about what happened in the Phoenix real estate market in December. So stay tuned. That's what I'm jumping into right now and talking about all the good news looking forward to 2021. It's starting right now. Hey everyone, Happy New Year. Welcome to 2021. And I know we're all very hopeful that it's going to be so much better than 2020. I am Caitlin McKeag. I'm a realtor here in Phoenix, Arizona. And every month I do a market update on what's gone on in the Phoenix real estate market that month. This time I am talking about December 2020. I hate to look back in the past, but we do need to review what happened the last month of the year because it'll help us understand what we might be able to expect as we move into January of 2021. As always, I'm going to take you through what has happened in December 2020 as compared to December of 2019. So I always look at the statistics in that month as compared to the previous year, and then I'm going to go through a few things that are unique to December and what happened in that month. Okay, so talking about our active listings in December were down 48% as compared to December of 2019. That number was sitting around 7,000, which is extremely low for the history of Phoenix. Our listings under contract are up 34.6%. The median monthly sales price is up 16.5% at $332,000. Our number of closed sales is up 25.2%, and that number is 9,402 closed sales. And our months of supply is at 1.3 months of supply. I talk about this every month. Months of supply means if no new homes were to come on the market for sale, we would run out of available listings in 1.3 months. You can see on this graph that December of 19 was 2.3 months of inventory and December of 18 was 3.3 months of inventory. So when I say we have extremely low supply, this definitely shows that. December of 2020 was no exception. It's the same story we've been seeing every month this year when we compare to the prior year. Our number of active listings is way down. Our number of contracts is way up because there's been so much more activity. Our median sales price is up and our number of closed sales is up as well. So a lot of activity has happened in the year of 2020, and it's definitely been really busy on the real estate front. And a lot of that has been fueled by buyer demand. Our supply has not been good this year. If you watched any of my weekly updates or my monthly updates, I continually talk about how low our supply is. And what has changed this year more than what we've seen pretty much any year is the demand from buyers. And that really spiked up in May of 2020. And we saw that continue to increase through the rest of the year into numbers that we hadn't seen before. And that being the case, our supply kind of hung in there, stayed somewhat steady until we got into November of 2020 and supply started going down. All the while, our buyer demand has continued to be high and increase every now and then. In November, December, it kind of decreased slightly, but it's really just kind of the holiday slumber, I'm pretty sure. I don't think that demand is actually going down, so we'll see what January has to bring as far as that goes. So talking about supply and demand is extremely important because it really sets the tone for what's going on in the market. I follow the Cromford Report, which is a subscription that realtors are able to get that analyzes the MLS data on a daily basis and provides insights for realtors to be able to share with their clients. And so using their analysis, I'm able to share this information with you. One of the things that's extremely helpful that the Cromford Report does, and I've talked about this on all of my updates, so for those of you who are new, I will run through this quickly. They have a Cromford Market Index, or the CMI as they call it. And this measures the supply and demand in our market, and it's based off of an algorithm that is seasonal factors, demand factors, and just history from our Phoenix market that allows them to create this market index. A value of 100 is a balanced market, and any value below 100 is a buyer's market. Any value above 100 is a seller's market. So we've been in the seller's market territory for a very long time, and this year we hit a milestone. We actually crossed the number of 400 in 2020. Now that happened just recently at the beginning of December, but we've never seen a value on the market index of 400 ever before. And keep in mind, 100 is a balanced market, and anything above 100 is a seller's market. So when I say it's a seller's market, I'm not freaking kidding. We are so far into a seller's market here in Phoenix, it is almost hard to comprehend. So we busted through the barrier of 400 at the beginning of December. And then the first week I reported on it, we were at 406. And now this week when I reported on Monday in my weekly update, we were at 420. And now I'm here to tell you that we're at 424. So the market index continues to increase. When we look at the market index overall, that number of 424 tells us that we are extremely far into the seller's market and prices are expected to rise. This market index algorithm is a predictor of price. It has historically shown price appreciation based off of the value that it holds. So any number over 100 is telling us that prices will continue to increase. The same goes for our supply and our demand. So the supply factor is sitting below normal. That number is sitting at 31.2. So essentially that's almost 69% below normal. Again, that's for supply. So that's for the number of homes that we have for sale. When you look at what is healthy and normal for a market, we're about 69% below that. On the demand side, that number sits at 132, which means we're about 32% above normal. So 32% more demand than what we measure at a normal rate. So that should help illustrate where we stand with these supply and demand factors. Again, supply is severely low and our demand is above normal, and that market index is way into the seller's market, hitting a record number of 424 this week. I love to break down this information and see what the reading is for every single city in Phoenix as it relates to the market index. So let's take a look at that so we can break down where these cities fall in Phoenix. Before I show you that though, if this video is helpful for you, make sure to give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I post 3 new videos a week all about living in Phoenix and Phoenix real estate. So if that's going to be helpful to you, make sure you subscribe and share this video if you think someone else would like to see it. So a few weeks ago on my weekly update, I talked about how Gilbert slid into the #1 spot as we look at every city's market index. Avondale has carried the first spot for pretty much the whole year, so seeing Gilbert move into that was really surprising. Their market index is at 661, and you can see over on the right that that's a 17% change from the prior month. They were sitting at 567, so Gilbert really flew into that top spot with a strong Cromford index number. Again, keeping in mind that 100 is balanced, 661 is a crazy number. Avondale is still extremely strong with 608, and then Glendale is in the 3rd spot with 608 as well. Towards the bottom, Tempe and Paradise Valley have the lowest CMI values, but that doesn't mean that they're not in a seller's market. Even Paradise Valley at 279 is still way beyond 100 and into a seller's market. With all of these cities, it is challenging for buyers. It just becomes even more challenging with the ones that have the highest values. Cave Creek is sitting in the #12 spot, but it has the highest percent increase from the previous month at 37%. It was at 322 in November and now sitting at 440. There have been some other cities that have changed towards the direction of sellers at 20% ranges. Some of the other cities have some high readings as well and a pretty high percent change from last month. Many times when I show this graph, there's a few cities that have a red arrow pointing downward, meaning that their value fell slightly. It's interesting to see that in December, we had no city whatsoever that moved in the direction of buyers. They've only increased for sellers. This information is really important because, as I said before, it is a predictor of price appreciation. So the further we are into a seller's market with these higher numbers, we can expect prices to continue to rise. We're seeing that even on a national scale. So the Case-Shiller Home Price Index numbers just came out for December, and Phoenix is in the 3rd spot nationally for an increase in sales prices. Last month, we were actually in the number 1 spot, so I'm gonna consider that good news that we fell slightly. The average increase in home prices on a national scale was 1.37%. Phoenix beat that out at 1.68%, but New York got the top spot at 1.89%, and San Diego came in second with 1.70%. It's not just home values that are seeing these increases. We're also seeing the same thing happening with rentals in our market here in Phoenix as well. Across all rentals, the lease price per square foot is up 15% from last year. And if you look exclusively on single-family detached homes for rent, it's up 18% from last year. It doesn't take long to look at this graph and see what's going on here. In 2020, these bars have totally jumped extremely high, especially towards the end of the year. You can see the average rent per square foot is $1.16 in November. And for December, you can see we're ending the year at $1.17 a square foot for rentals. And we began the year at $1.02 per square foot for rentals in January this year. So if you're hoping to go rent and avoid high prices, you're not avoiding that in rentals either, unfortunately. And when you're doing that, you're also giving someone else your money rather than putting it towards equity in your own home. So I keep talking about supply and demand, but I have a really good way to illustrate this to you so you can see what's going on throughout the entire valley and what areas are the hottest and the coolest. Well, I guess there aren't really any cool areas per se. The Cromford Report has also created something that they call a contract ratio, and this looks at the number of homes available for sale versus the number of homes that are already under contract in a specific city or zip code. When you divide the number of listings under contract by the number of active listings and multiply that by 100, you get the contract ratio. Last December, we were sitting at about 63 for the entire valley, and this December, we're at 180. It's really interesting to compare the contract ratio from this year to 2019 and also 2018. There is a huge gap, a very noticeable gap between this year and 19 and definitely 2018 as well. Phoenix is sitting at about 195 right now, and last year at this time it was at 70 and 2 years ago at 40. So just a huge, significant increase from this year to prior years. The Cromford Report considers a value of 0 to 20 as a cool market, and anything above that starts to get into a hotter market. 21 to 40 is warm, 41 to 74 is warmer, 75 to 99 is hotter, and 100 and over is considered a frenzy. If we look at this chart by zip code, you'll see they added even more categories because frenzy just wasn't doing it. We had to go into an insane frenzy, insanity, 2 times more under contract than available for sale, insanity 3 times more under contract, and so on, all the way over to insanity with over 10 times more under contract than available for sale. The only zip code that has the insanity level 10 times more under contract is this area of South Phoenix near Tolleson. It's zip code 85043. It has a contract ratio of 1,188 with only 9 active listings and 107 under contract. In December, we tend to see the North Scottsdale area specifically and Paradise Valley all being kind of in the cool blue zones because they're not quite as hot as other areas of the valley. All of these areas are still having contract ratios that are at least in the warm or hot category, if not beyond. When you look at this map, you can see that everything is either red, orange, yellow, or a dark gray. And don't be confused by the dark gray. It's not blue. It is supposed to be like scorched earth. The only areas of blue are way on the outskirts, and that is 85173. This is far east past Apache Junction. So hopefully that gives you a little bit more insight to what these contract ratios look like. It's really hard to imagine a city or a zip code that has more homes under contract than are actually available for sale. It's kind of a dismal thing to think about. It's kind of a stressful thing to think about as a buyer. But as a seller, that's really exciting because you're pretty much a hero the second you put your house up for sale, because there will be a buyer that wants it and will be grateful for that new listing. So as we enter this new year, here is what I will leave you with. If you're looking to buy a house this year, I am excited for you, but just know it will be a challenging process. But it's not impossible. There are so many people out there still buying homes, being competitive, and able to find the right home for them. So don't lose hope, and if there's anything I can help you with, I'd be happy to consult you in that process. If you're thinking about selling your house, I would jump on it sooner than later. I think prices will continue to increase, but unfortunately, I don't have a crystal ball to give you any sort of assurance that that's going to happen in the long term. Right now, what I can say is it's a great time to sell your house. Prices are very high, and you'll be able to sell your house extremely quickly. So I'd be happy to give you a CMA, help you understand your home value and how quickly the house could sell if that's something you're interested in. Check in my description below. I have a few links there to be helpful for you as either a seller or a buyer. As a seller, if you want to check your instant home valuation, I've linked that below as well for your convenience. I hope everyone has a happy and healthy 2021 and a better year than 2020. I appreciate all your support and watching my videos and updates this year. And of course, if there's anything I can do to help you out, feel free to reach out to me anytime by call, text, or email. Thanks for watching this video and coming to my channel. Happy New Year! I'm Caitlin McKeag with HomeSmart.